I'm here at VR Distribution's booth at the Melbourne Toy Fair with a very special guest, Phil Walker Harding, sort of acclaimed game designer, I would say. Can you tell me a little bit about your experience designing games and your career?
Yeah, well, I started designing games about 15 years ago. Started self-publishing, doing handmade print runs of about 100 games, selling them online, so started really small. And yeah, over those 15 years, just slowly grown and started getting published by other publishers. And yeah, now I've been doing it full time for quite a few years. Sushi Go is probably my most famous game, but I've designed a bunch of others. And I'm here at Toy Fair because I've just started my own little publishing company as well, which is Joey Games. So I've kind of gone full circle back to self-publishing.
Yeah, I like that. So the sort of do-it-yourself sort of vibes coming back with Joey Games. I will make a point that I love Sushi Go Party. Fantastic games. I think it's also like a great way to introduce people to the hobby because the art sort of almost sells it straight away.
Yeah, it's funny. So when I used to self-publish, I loved that I got to, work on the art myself and work on the product design myself. And when you work with other publishers, that's their job, So I love that too, but I kind of started to miss it a bit. And so coming back to Joey Games is part of me sort of saying, oh, it'd be fun to get back to that full control, creative control way of doing a game. Yeah.
So the first games from Joey Games are 3 games which you launched on Kickstarter. Can you tell me about them?
Yeah, so they're just here. So there's 3 games. So Busy Beaks is a card game about Australia's bird life. So it's kind of like a rummy style set collection game. There's 14 different birds in the game which all have different special powers. Each game you pick 7 to use, you shuffle up your deck, and you're trying to create sets called flocks to score points, but then they all have cool interactive powers as well. So that's a fun one. We actually partnered with an illustrator named Sarah Allen, who has a kids picture book called Busy Beaks. So we licensed the art, so that's really cool. Pass the Party Food is a cooperative game about classic Australian party food. So fairy bread, lamingtons, etc. So it's all about sharing food at a party with your friends. And then Scribbly Gum is like a flip and write drawing game about Australia's scribbly gum trees, where you're a moth larvae crawling on the tree trying to find food. So yeah, we tried to have fun, winsome Australian themes without being too cringy Australian. And yeah, our games are all for kids and adults to play together. So 6 to 10-year-olds is kind of our real target, but they're all designed so that adults will enjoy them too, and they won't sort of have to glaze over while they play a game with the kids, if you've ever had that experience. So, yeah.
So is that a big part of it, is have games that are, can be suitable for kids, but also are going to appeal to adults, and maybe even be sort of a stepping stone welcoming game as well?
Totally. Like you mentioned Sushi Go, and how that sort of has welcomed people into the hobby, which has been amazing. But that's definitely how I design. I want to design things that are approachable, that warm people up to modern games and get them interested. So, yeah, so if a parent buys one of our games thinking, oh, here's something for the kids, and then they end up enjoying it, I think that'll be really cool. And maybe they'd start seeking out other games as well. Yeah.
Now, Joey Games is fairly new. This is your first toy fair. What's your experience being so far in the couple of days it's been on?
Yeah, well, we were just talking how fascinating it is to see behind the scenes of the industry. So I have seen parts of the industry, of course, but I've never really seen this kind of business to business, like retailers making deals and talking to distributors kind of side. So it's interesting being here and being in that part of the process. It's been good. We've met lots of really interesting Australian stores and people who might be interested in stocking our games. So that's been really nice. But also just getting to meet people like VR who I've known, I know about obviously, but I've never really met them and hung out with them. So it's been really interesting to see this side of the industry.
Especially when they stock some of your games like we're seeing here.
Yeah. Very strategically placed. Yeah, I always feel a bit awkward. They ask me to sign that copy, but anyway, I'm happy to do it.
So obviously we've got the new Joey Games. We've talked about Sushi Go. Can you mention a few other games that you've designed that people might know or should check out?
Yeah, so a couple of games of mine that came out recently that you might be worth looking into are Super Mega Lucky Box from Game Right, who do Sushi Go. It's like my take on bingo. I wanted to make bingo into an actual game with decisions. So that's what Super Mega Lucky Box is about. That's one I really enjoyed making. And another recent release of mine is Museum Suspects from Blue Orange, which is like a deduction game where you're trying to figure out who stole a bone from a museum. And it's like a mix. People have been calling it a mix between Guess Who and Cluedo. So if that sounds fun, that's Museum Suspects. Yeah.
Phil, thank you very much for taking us through the Joey games and a little bit about your career and where you're tracking. We're keen to see the new releases coming out from Joey.
Awesome. Great to chat.